Hello and welcome to another episode of All Caps. I'm Isaac Anderson, the author of A Song of Bones and the Garden Maze, and I'm joined by Stephen Boers, author of The Ruination Game, with the newest installment, Book 5, releasing October, you said the 4th?
13.
13.
Yeah.
It's a little bit farther than 4th.
Slightly.
Slightly, a little bit, slightly. So how are you doing? So we were talking a little bit before the show about, approaching, series.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how you're experimenting a little bit with this next installment. You have a different point of view character. What are ways that you keep, because with my own stuff, as I'm working on, the series as it goes along, in the back of my mind, I'm worried that my voice will change over time or my style will evolve over time. Are there ways you're keeping yourself in check as you're going, 5 books deep now?
I think for the most part, because the 5th book is sort of the start of a new character's story anyway. So you have sort of a different voice anyway for it. Granted, Saris is the main character of book 5 through 7. And he has been in the other books, but as far as POV characters, he's pretty minor in those ones. So to really pull him out as the main cast or as the main character, you get to sort of explore things about him that's more than what you get in the other books. And so, yes, your style can change, and I'm pretty sure mine has a little bit. I've grown as a writer, and I'd like to think that it's well written or better written than the other ones, at least. Um, yeah, there's probably some trick to keeping yourself in check when it comes to that. But I think as far as my case goes, like when I'm like, all right, I'm writing this character, my brain just kind of goes into that mode, and it feels pretty natural, right? So don't really have to think about it too much. If I went back to it nowadays, I would probably have to reread everything to get in that headspace.
Right.
But I think I could probably manage it fairly easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Stephen King talks about when he took his long break from doing Dark Tower. He waited to do I think the last 3 books. Like it
Okay.
was like I don't know how many years he waited, but he got hit by a car and had the whole fiasco with that, and he sat back down to work on, Dark Tower,
Mhm.
and he was like, I gotta reread everything. He looked at all those massive books. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, I have to read my own books.
Yeah.
So what he
Something.
did is he listened to audiobooks.
Oh yeah, that
He
works.
listened to audiobook version of his whole series. And he said that he was able to get right back in the groove again by listening to that.
Yeah.
Particularly because the guy who did the audio book was like a really good narrator. He really got that guy's voice in his head as he continued on.
Yeah. Yeah. Audio is so useful. I think if I had to go back and write another book for it, I would do my audiobooks too, because rereading the whole thing would take a while. But also,
Yeah.
I think you have to also read through some of the stuff you didn't write in the book, the backgrounds,
Yeah.
the world building, and all this stuff, just to kind of refresh your brain. So yeah, the audiobooks definitely save time for sure, but I think you got to do some work too.
I have like 50 pages of notes for my main series.
Yeah.
And usually twice a year, I read through all those notes just to remind myself of what I was thinking or where I was. Oh, we're doing this. Don't get distracted by this.
Yeah.
So what were your notes for this series as a whole? Did you always plan to split off with this character down the line, or is that something that just happened?
That idea sort of came in, I think it was book 2. I was working at like a factory job at the time, and it was right
Mm.
before COVID hit. And it was a really boring job. So, so you're just kind of doing this mindless task. And so I would think of my book and roll through, like, all right, what happens next? What happens next? And at one point, I'm like, what if this happened? And it was with Ceres, my other character. and that had rolled into, well, if that happens, I need like this whole thing before this, and then I need to find a conclusion for it. So the idea for Saris's books came to me, a, when I was writing book two, but also b, it started with book six. So book five I had nothing for, and then book seven
Hmm.
I had nothing for. But I really wanted to do this thing for book six, and so I sprinkled in a bunch of um, just random stuff within book two and book three and four, so I could make it happen. And then
Right.
I forgot your question. I don't know if
No,
that's,
no, it's fine.
yeah.
So, so you said you had an idea for book six,
Yes.
and that meant you had to write book five and also book seven.
Mhm.
So, what led to that decision? Like, why wouldn't you just make book six book five and take things for book seven and put into book six five?
Yeah.
What was the strategy there?
Well, uh, you got to get a shrink for that one. I'm not. I'm not sure if I'm qualified for that. I have this.
Because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I plan like this idea is a middle book idea, and then I
Yes.
think, but why is it a middle book idea? Why couldn't it be right here? But no, it's got a middle book idea. So
Yeah.
I don't know, because I bet if I sat down and really wrestled with that, I could get that into the current story and make it
Probably.
work.
Yeah.
But
But I really
is that
wanted.
worth the effort, though? Is the
Yeah.
question.
And you really wanna develop the characters and make people care about them, especially if you've got, like, this, what do they call it? Signpost that I had in
Hmm.
mind for it was such a impactful thing in my eyes that I needed to get everybody invested into the character prior to it happening. And so you do have all these sprinklings in the first four books, but then when book five hits, it's like, all right, well, this idea that I have doesn't work with this because I have this entire whole new world that I need to address before I get you knee deep into a big problem.
Hmm.
So I think it was the setup. I needed something to set it up. And when I did that, then you find a lot of other things that you get to add. And then suddenly you have a whole story. And this signpost that you had originally is a really nice uh, ingredient, but it only makes up a portion of the whole thing.
Okay. So, what goes into making a setup? Like, if book five is a setup for book six, how do you also make book five itself special? Like, what are ways you would tackle that?
I so I'm a pantser mostly. I'm a bit of both, but I do
Right.
like I prefer pantsing, right? Not other people, just my books. Um, but I knew I needed to introduce the world, and so my mindset of this was okay. I'm going deeper into a urban fantasy setting, like traditional urban fantasy kind of
Yeah.
ideas. How do I set this up? Because this character just came back, um, and I need to kind of get him uh, in a situation where it makes sense to throw him new things because he's been here before, and but everything's new, so I need to figure out how to introduce him to it and how to kind of throw him into it in a not very fun way. But also, the signpost was not this huge story piece. It was a scene that's going to affect several, like a large chunk of the book. Um, and I need people to get on his side. So it's it's a lot of how do I word this? Let's get the audience familiar with the world that you have and where your story is going to go book by book, or the whole like series. What's the goal for these three books kind of thing?
Yeah.
um and then we can sprinkle in like, all right, it goes from difficult to really difficult to maybe bad and then worse, and then finally we figure out what's going on. So it's all basic story structure stuff, right?
Yeah.
But you kind of put it in the mindset of, if you have this big epic fantasy, you got to start at chapter one. You can't start at chapter 35. And this being a shorter series, a shorter book, but a series of shorter books, um, with their own kind of story in between. Um, yeah, it's you got to find a kickoff point, if that makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
rambling a
Yeah.
lot here.
Yeah. You need that flashpoint,
Hmm.
the moment the spark is matched.
Yeah.
Um, for my own stuff, I struggled a lot with where to begin the story.
Mm.
Each draft started at a completely different place.
Yeah.
So I followed the rule of starting in the middle of the problem,
Yeah. Okay.
and in in a lot of ways, I really like that. Like the feedback I got from the story was that the world felt very, very real.
Yeah, because you're kind of thrown into it,
You're
right?
thrown into it, and I don't necessarily explain things.
Yeah.
Like I'll have a character, he'll talk this way or have this kind of, saying, and I don't explain what that means. I have characters that they believe this thing is over here. I don't explain what that thing is. They just believe it and they go on like, okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Um, if I previous drafts, I had started way, way, way back there, and you understood all those things going in. But by removing all of that preamble, I found it made the book feel more mysterious. Like these were puzzles that the reader could look forward to unraveling, and they were dealt in a way that they felt real. Like they weren't empty promises. They're like these are actual real things in the story.
Yeah.
Um, so now I'm rambling, but yeah. So finding the right place to begin the story, I don't think there's a right answer because you look at something like Wheel of Time with this massive book series.
Hmm.
Um, his editor was his wife,
Right.
and I bet she let him get away with a lot of stuff.
I don't know.
Um,
If you if you talk to my wife, she doesn't let me get away with nearly anything. So, and
well,
she's also my
that's
editor.
good. That's good to have. That's good to have.
Mhm.
Robert Jordan, from what I've heard, has like entire books where nothing happens.
Yeah.
Um, so of course I've never read those books, so I can't say for sure what I
Sure.
think about them. But surely all that stuff is setting up for other things. And and maybe that's really satisfying to see those things kick off, but you got to have really patient readers.
Right.
So I guess the kind of readers you want to attract are, yeah, I guess that's who you want to write for. So it sounds like you're writing for the not the patient reader, but for the experienced reader.
I suppose. I mean, it's book
Like,
five, right? So
yeah,
ideally, you'd have some invested people already, right? Um,
that's true.
I did kind of write it as a potential entry point for the series because it's a new character. I wanted it to be available to people for that. So I had this sort of back and forth of, do I call it book five? Do I call it book one, with like a different subtitle? I ended up doing book five, mostly because I was not positive if somebody picked this book up before book one, if they would be lost or not. I feel like they would be fine, but I'm
Hmm.
so ingrained in the story at this point that I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could separate what I know from what I didn't know, and I had a hard time with that. I talked to my wife. She's like, "Just make it book five. It's fine." So, but yeah, I would say there's enough. What is it? The inciting incident. There's enough like pushing people towards getting invested early enough, I think. Um, so while yes, there's like I interested in patient people who want like a full grown story. But as far as stories go, this just made sense to sort of ease it into sort of existence rather than throw you into it, because the main
Right.
character's also being thrown into it, and he's it's like, what's going on? So yeah, it being also my first series, it made sense to me to sort of not over explain what's going on, but give enough to not be lost with how the world works.
Yeah. What advice would you give to people wanting to start their first series?
Uh, so when I this was my first book, right? This was the first book I published, all that. If you're thinking of publishing a series first, I'd probably say start with a standalone first. It's so much less pressure
Yeah.
to put out a standalone than a series. For one thing, just because of the whole completion aspect, but also just there's a sense of like, oh, I like the writing, but I don't connect with the story, so I'm not going to continue. Um, and yet, if you have two standalones and then the start of a series, then you have a catalog, and people can say, all right, I didn't like this, but maybe I like this.
Mm.
Um, but when you're going for series first, I would say at least first draft, don't worry too much about what your whole project is. Just work on the one book. Make sure it's a complete book. Um, and you can have ideas for future books. There's nothing wrong with that, but just focus on like, let's get this one book done. And the first draft, once you're done with it, then I would say, all right, what kind of hints do you want for the rest of the books? What ideas do you want to come back to? And then put them in during editing. I think it's
Mm.
personally, it's a lot easier to digest for the writer, just to not be overwhelmed with, oh, but I should add sprinkles for book 5 here, or I should throw in ideas for, book 2, so it's a callback, or, you know, whatever. When I wrote book 1, um, I I knew I was going to have a series. I thought it was going to be a 4-book series. And when I was writing book 2, I realized there's a lot here that I need to reference back to. So rather than me go back to, the book, I finally made notes on it. And obviously, notes are huge, um, and they do help a lot. But yeah, the most important thing, whether you're writing a series or a standalone, is to get through the first draft. So get through the
Yeah.
first draft. I mean, that's the best you can do. You can edit the little details later.
That's true. So, this being your first book, your first series, you have some other stuff on the horizon you're also working on. You
I
you
do.
want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Okay. The Ruination Game is completely written. I'm just waiting to put out the rest of the books. So book
Mhm.
5, I have a not for sale copy here. So that one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You like
Looks
it?
real good.
Thanks.
Yes.
That will be coming out, like you said, August 13, Tuesday. And book 6 will be out December something. It's the second Tuesday of December. And then book uh, 7 will be coming out January, second Tuesday of January.
Nice.
So that's those. I have a middle grade sci-fi comedy which is ready to go. I've been debating, do I want to query this or do I want to just put it out? Not sure yet, but that one's ready, and I'm pretty excited for that. I do need to get cover art for it,
Mm.
so that'll come when it comes. Excuse me. Um,
What makes you decide to query or not?
I like the idea of having an agent because then I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. Um, but I also don't have as much freedom. So
That's
there's this
true.
push and pull for it. What I think would be ideal is having a hybrid kind of situation where you have an agent for certain books and then you also self-publish for certain books. I think that would be ideal. But we'll see if that happens. Like maybe I just go self-publishing. Maybe I don't even have a shot, at least right now. But we'll see.
I think
Um,
if you have something that you think would market well, I think you might as well dip your toes in for a little bit
that's
just to
true.
see how it goes.
Just
But
see
I
how it
think
goes.
ideally, people in our world, I think we should be approached.
That'd be interesting.
So, like, I think the perfect scenario is write something that's really, really good, that really resonates with, with the reading community on Amazon and, you know,
Yeah,
and on and on and on. And then have the big guys kind of get down to
come
your
to you.
level,
Yeah,
like come to you. I think that's for most of the success stories I see in the indie space, that's kind of what happens. They make a big splash and then people come investigate them.
yeah,
Um, I mean, unless you think you have a great like pitch for like a middle grade story, like you're saying.
yeah.
Um,
I
dip your
mean,
toes,
who knows?
investigate,
Yeah,
spend a few months just investigating a little bit. If you get no bites, you can self-publish it. You
yeah,
could even put like that's like a dead man switch in your query letter. If I don't hear
yeah,
anything by this, I'm just gonna self-publish.
yeah. I don't know how they do with that. Yeah, or what they would do with that. I do. So part of my
Well, before you answer,
yeah,
Mike
go
has
ahead.
arrived. So Mike is here. He wants us to start over.
Start
So
over.
Mike, start over. Basically, Lord of the Rings is not too long. It's the perfect length, and Wheel of Time is fine. Okay, you're
Yeah.
caught up. That's basically what you got to know.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Hi, Mike. How's it going? All right. I'm just gonna go with what I was saying earlier, if that's fine.
Yeah, that's great.
So the getting an agent part. Um, Part of why I'm a little hesitant about it for this sci-fi comedy book is I haven't written any middle grade sci-fi comedies other than this one.
Mhm.
Primarily, I've focused on fantasy, and I know agents typically focus on like a genre, right? So I'm a little hesitant to do that, but I'm also kind of hesitant to do it just because I want to write everything that inspires me. I don't see myself writing, a nonfiction book anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of ideas for fantasy. I have some ideas for like mystery and horror and romance and all this other stuff. So I'm a little like, do I try to get an agent for the main stuff and then see about self-publishing the rest? Do I just go for an agent with the things that I think are going to be super successful and self-publish things that are a little off base or a little sort of over
Mhm.
there kind of ideas? Um, I think, like you said, shooting your shot. There's nothing wrong with shooting your shot, right? Um, and just sort of making a deadline for yourself for when you want to publish. Because I do want to publish at least one thing every calendar year. So,
Yeah.
book seven's coming out in January. Of what year is that? 2027.
27. Oh
Um,
my goodness.
yeah.
We're getting very close to the 2060s. We'll remake everything.
Right.
Um, so
So,
when you're
mhm,
writing middle grade sci-fi,
mhm.
um, what gets you in that headspace?
I mean, the whole idea came by when I heard a joke, some kind of bit of some kind about I forget exactly what it was or how I heard it because it was a long time ago. But it was something around the lines of aliens were on the planet and badly trying to make it sound like they were human, right?
Right.
So they'd be at like a barbecue and be like, "Hey, Lift Norb, how do you like your burger?" And he's like, "Oh, you know how that affects my lumpherzoid. Don't give me that." Um, Stuff that would be super obvious. I just thought that was kind of funny. So I
Yeah.
that was the inspiration for that book. And it turned into this whole thing of
Are there dog
are
aliens?
there dog aliens? Not yet. Maybe if there's a book 2, maybe I'll throw that in there. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, the whole plot of it is this alien comes to Earth in order to conquer it. And the way that his species conquers planets is essentially by buying them. And so they have a good that they try to sell to acquire the planet. And this works for every other planet. And this guy comes to Earth and is trying to sell water. And that's the whole setup. So obviously, Earth
Water.
being mostly water. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So how do you write, like, how do you approach, like, your style? Are you changing your style at all when you're writing for middle grade?
I don't usually think about style too much. I just sort of am like, because this was another first person book, right?
Mm,
So I was like, all right, well, what's the headspace of this character? I want it to be funny, so I'm going to figure something out for that, right?
right.
Um, that's for oh, I missed that.
Oh,
That's
they're
for you,
talking
bro.
amongst
Oh,
themselves.
sorry. Okay. um, so yeah, I wanted to get in the headspace of the character, and the character kind of needed to be a little stupid, a little young.
Yeah.
Um, his research is all done through like sitcoms and not even very well because he's paying more attention to like TV shows from other planets more than ours.
Mm,
Um, and so he doesn't fully understand what's going on. He starts to think that children are the actual rulers of the planet because in a lot of sitcoms, the yelling child gets what they want. Therefore, they are in charge. So it's a bit of a what do you call it? A growing
like fish out of
story,
water kind of thing.
fish out of water. What is that phrase? It's a trope, and I'm losing it. Like a growth, personal growth, something you're growing up thing. uh, yeah. Well, look for it, Rosier, because it'll be out probably maybe in like 2028. So I mean, you got a little time, but you can hit me up and I'll give you a beta of it. Okay.
Nice.
Um. Anyway, uh, yeah. I just needed the character to be a little wacky and
Okay.
misunderstanding everything, and it was a lot of fun. I had a blast writing it.
And then your other project is more fantasy oriented. Is that also
Yeah.
for younger readers, or are you back to adults
That
again?
one's back to yeah, I'd probably say young adult. I don't
Okay.
use language in my writing. It's just not something I do. I do allude to it a lot, like oh he
Right.
cursed. That's as
Yeah.
deep as it goes for that. Um, but yeah, that one is definitely more a high fantasy. It's in a different world. It's not humans aren't there. It's a different species, and that one's kind of like a zombie apocalypse meets magic, kind of.
Okay. Magic zombie.
It's more like they're trying to prevent the zombie apocalypse. There's this whole um, situation where a necromancer is showed up. They don't know where they are. They think they're copycatting somebody from years and years ago, um, and yeah, they're causing problems.
Mm,
But it follows three different characters. I've got three first person narratives, and they are sort of not what is it? The found family, right? So they're a bit butting heads at first, but they eventually come together, and that's kind of the trope of that one. I think honestly, that's the best book that I've written. And at the same time, I have a hard time explaining what it's about. It's one of those things that I know it's far enough out there where I'll figure out how to give it a proper blurb, and I'll figure out
yeah.
like how am I going to market this? But right now, it's sort of in this ethos of I really like the book. I hope people like the book, and that's about as far as I
Yes.
can get with it. But I did. I don't think I based it off of anything, at least not consciously. Um, I'm sure there are things that people would say, "Oh, it's a lot like this," and they're like, "Oh yeah," but nothing specific inspired that book, and so that it feels very much like akin to me for that.
Okay.
But yeah,
Were you following like a fun concept, or did you have like something you were trying to do in the story? Like,
I had a few different signpost scenes, but mostly I had an idea for a character that was j- like for the world. He was very old, but he didn't look old, so he
mm,
found a way to preserve his youth, right? Um, and he's a thief, and so he's rich at this point because he's so old. He's just invested in whatever. Um, but he loves stealing so much that he will do it for fun and just piss off whoever he wants. He's not empathetic. He's kind of a jerk, and but I really liked him as a concept, and I came up with a whole backstory for him before I wrote anything on the page, which is unlike me. Um, and then yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it all came together, but I had the idea of, all right, well, I have this thief. I want to include a mage character, um, and then I want to include this other character that I didn't have a name for. Um,
hmm
and At this point, I mean, I finished the book a few years ago, but I started it several years ago. So how I came up with the story, I don't actually remember. A lot of it I had in mind, but uh, I don't remember what came first or second. It was just sort of this uh, amalgamation of this makes sense, and wouldn't this be cool? And then
right.
yeah, you go from there. So that's that project. I do have a few other ones as well. I got one that's very much based off of Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
Um, a little bit more adult than Kingdom Hearts. No Disney characters. um, that one I finished book one on, but that'll be
okay.
I think a 3 book series. I was debating 3 or 5, but I think 3 makes sense for that one.
Are you going video game hopping worlds kind of thing,
No,
or
this one will just be one world, but you have this entity that's very much like the Heartless, that's kind of
okay?
creating havoc and chaos, and then there are these uh, adjacent to Keyblade wielders who are supposed to fight this
Right.
darkness, and it's their responsibility. And so the story is based off of this little girl whose village is attacked, and she was saved by these people who protect the whatever, and
Yeah.
yeah, so they take her in, and so it's her story of becoming one of these.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's partly inspired by Kingdom Hearts stuff.
yeah.
Are there any like if you were given the keys to any property and were allowed to write for that property, do you have a dream
Do I have a
IP
dream
you'd like to
company? I've been uh, a little bit um, skeptical. Let's call it skeptical about a lot of movies coming out in the past several years. Right?
Mhm.
I think a lot of people have. Um, Disney's probably one of the upper ones there. That's like they put out good stuff, but they also put out bad stuff. And as I've been writing, I've been noticing uh, just story beats that I'm like, oh, I feel like it would have been stronger if they went this route, or I didn't care about the
Yeah.
character enough. So why did they go about it this way? So I want to say that it might be something Disney related, but I don't know if I have the brain power to do that. Um, as far as what specific one, I mean, honestly, I'm a little tired of seeing like repeats of shows or continuations of, like what they're making it like a Frozen 3 now or something, right? And like I'll probably watch it and I'll probably enjoy it, but I also want to see new stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think I would like to work with really any company. I think any company would be fun because it would be a huge experience and stuff. But I would want to work on something new and not something that already has an IP.
Yeah. I would love to, because the idea of being invited to like make for and explore a world
Hmm.
that that is beloved, that's tempting to me. I think
Yeah,
I would really enjoy that. And
I
if we're
find.
playing if if we're playing in the Disney wheelhouse,
Yeah.
um, I think I would like to make a series of stories like for middle grade,
Hmm.
uh, Apple Dumpling Gang. I
Okay.
would I would do an Apple Dumpling Gang series of like little tiny books with
All
apple. It's
right.
just fun, funny westerns.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be fun. I feel like using an existing IP for me is intimidating. Um, and so I would be a little nervous to do that. I mean, I've written a total of 10 books now, and I
Mhm.
don't think I have the chops to like touch somebody else's work. And maybe that's
You
just a
probably
matter of
could.
I need to practice doing it. But yeah, I mean, getting in the headspace of a character, even if I think I know them well, it just it's intimidating, you know? Like if I picked Star Wars, for example, and I wanted Han Solo in there, do I think I could actually make a good Han Solo, or would I ruin the character? You know, I would be in my
Yeah.
head like the whole time.
I think nothing would boost your ability as a writer as a challenge like that. You now
It's
have to
true.
write a new Han Solo scene or a new Han Solo story,
Yeah.
or what would Han Solo say in this situation and have it sound like Han Solo. You have to make new Han Solo lines and quips.
Yeah.
So,
It would be fantastic practice, right? I mean, I love that idea of practicing it. I've got an idea for I want to get better at expressing or describing things without
mhm.
sight, right? Like
Yeah.
you strive to do that while you're writing, but I want to really like nail it down. And so I do have a story idea, probably just a short story, um, following a blind person, POV of a blind person, so they can't see. So then what do you do? So I want to do that at some point. It's on my list, but it's still down the line.
That was one of the things. So Song of Bones takes place, the first book in a way, uh, underground for most of it, in like
Yeah.
in the dark. So one of the things I did before I did that book was I wrote a not really a short, more like a like a vignette of
Okay.
just people in the dark, moving around and speaking and doing things in the dark. And I just thought of all the different ways I could have characters be in the dark and limit sight, but also make it interesting, not make it just boring for the reader to imagine just nothing.
Yeah.
Um, so I wrestle with that for quite a bit. And what I finally ended up doing in this story was I made the underground feel like a thing.
Yeah.
I tried to make it feel like it was like right now I'm editing the second book and they're out in the forest and the same kind of problem. It's still dark. And so I can't wait for them to get into a sunny place so I can just describe things that, it's just sunny.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the same kind of thing with forest. The forest has feelings, it has thoughts, it almost says things, and the characters can almost hear it, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
all very subtle. But I think it makes for a very fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
Whenever you can make the setting a
treating
character, that's great.
yeah treating the darkness as its own thing, that has its own wants and desires. And maybe they're at odds with the characters, maybe they're fond of the characters. I mean, it depends on this on the setting. Most
Yeah.
fun settings hate the characters. But yeah, that's why I tackled that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Would you
Uh,
ever so what you're doing right now with it's partly inspired by Kingdom Hearts.
yeah.
But you're doing your own thing with it. Are there any other like? Would you ever like I've had ideas for Star Wars stories, and I know I'd never do a Star Wars story. I never get permission to do that.
Yeah.
But maybe I could change a few things here and there and just release something that feels very much like Star Wars. Because I think that's such a fun Star Wars is such a fun, unique world.
Yeah.
People are there. People like us are there, but Earth is nowhere to be seen. Everything's completely new and alien. Everything is created and designed and just cool. I don't see very much like that in the sci-fi space. I see, a lot of military sci-fi,
Yeah.
like the Expanse or like Hyperion or really good deep sci-fi. But I don't see very much fun, colorful sci-fi.
Yeah. I think that would be a lot of fun. Sci-fi is one of those things that I enjoy experiencing. I have not yet had an idea for it that has really pushed me to put it on my idea board, other than the alien
Yeah,
one, right? Um, and I don't even know if I really want to call that sci-fi because it takes place all on Earth. So,
yeah. Well,
but
aliens evolved, so sci-fi.
sure, yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I probably would never say no to an idea if I was passionate about it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that the trick for good sci-fi is you need a sci-fi problem or idea.
yeah,
It's like, and that's something that Star Wars doesn't usually do. Star Wars doesn't have sci-fi problems. Star Wars has like, the princess is stuck in a castle is the first movie.
yeah. That's
That's not
true.
that's a fantasy problem. That's not a sci-fi problem. A
Yeah,
true
it's very
sci-fi,
fantasy. Yeah, it's
yeah.
princess is stuck in a castle, and the wizard's apprentice needs to help her.
Yeah,
Right?
that's basically Star Wars.
Yeah,
Whereas, other sci-fi ideas are like really weird, deep things. Like when Asimov was doing his iRobot stuff, the idea of robots walking around and developing personalities and feelings was kind of a new idea that
yeah.
they were exploring. And now in today's day and age with AI and stuff, that's not as
It's a little too
strange a
close to
thing.
home. Yeah,
It's close to home, but real good sci-fi goes a few streets down from your home. This is what they say. What's possible over there that
yeah,
isn't, completely fantasy? Like this could happen. Like
yeah,
a lot of Asimov's stuff has now happened because he was a really good deep thinker, and he like, what is this technology and how would humans react to it if it got to this point? So that's like really good sci-fi. So when I think of like sci-fi things, I try to think of sci-fi problems, like even the simple ones, like we've developed a machine that compresses water, and now we can carry an ocean's worth of water in like a thimble, and like, oh great, we can go anywhere in the universe, we have all the water in the world.
yeah,
Then your containment breaks on the spaceship, and now you have more water flowing into the spaceship than the spaceship can hold, and everyone's going to drown in the spaceship.
yeah,
So what do you do in that situation? So that's a fun sci-fi problem that you wouldn't encounter in the real world.
yeah. It's very true, and I feel like you got like a full book right there. Anyway, right?
Yeah, that's a full problem right
Yeah.
there. Mix it with space zombies, and I think you got something really special. So when you're exploring ideas, what makes you decide what to tackle first? Because it sounds like you have a lot of things, a lot of plates spinning. How do you
Yeah.
order them?
That's the trouble, isn't it? I do have a lot of ideas, and it's been sort of a process, especially recently. Now that I finished the Ruination game, it's been very much, all right. What do I work on, and like how long do I commit to it? Right. So I've had I think 3 or 4 work in progresses that are still within the first draft, right?
Hmm.
And I'm anywhere from 7,000 words to, I think right now the most recent one is I hit 60,000 words recently. Um,
Nice.
and I try to stick with one because you want to kind of, you don't want to finish the book. Um, but there are times when I just feel really passionately about this one project that I'm not currently working on. And I've been on the back and forth, especially recently with this, of like, but I'm working on this book and I need to finish this book. And
Yeah.
so I try to force that energy to work on a different book onto this book, and it doesn't work. So I end up working on the other book anyway, um, which is how I got the book one of my new series, the Kingdom Hearts like one, done. And I thought that was going to drive me out to at least the end of book two for it. But while writing book two, I got really inspired for another idea that I had actually already started. So now we're on that again. And that's the one I hit 60,000 of recently. So
Nice.
yeah, it's there is an amount of I just need to sit down and force myself to work on it. But if I'm feeling inspired to work on something specific, I am trying to let myself do that. I definitely have time. That's the thing is I
That's
have the
good.
time to do it because the next three books are scheduled to come out, and I know when they're going to come out, and then the book after that I have available. So, as far as publishing time, I'm stress free right now.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I envy your just stress-free life.
Yeah.
What
Well,
that
to
kind
be
of that,
fair, I didn't start publishing until I finished book seven. So,
there you
uh,
go. There you go.
yeah, that's you just got to plan it that way.
Well, that leads me to my next question. What is your routine like?
um, So let's see. I kind of write whenever I get the chance to.
Mhm.
And I take my lunch break to write. I sort of commit that time to it. And I have the luxury of listening to things while I work. So I will put either the book that I'm working on or the previous one or whatever through a text to speech program, and I will just listen to it until my lunch break. So then my
Yeah.
brain's already processing it. And yeah, when I'm ready to go, then I just knock it out of the park. I mean, um, it's not the only times that I write, but yeah, I just sort of try to. I like writing like if I can manage it a chapter a day. I don't
Mhm.
always get there, but I like the completion aspect of I finished this chapter. Um, and so there are days when you get 500 words and then you're like I don't have time or my brain's fried. But
Yeah.
then you have really good days where it's like all right, I hit 2, 3, 4, 5,000 words. Um, and Yeah. Yeah, I have a habit of, like, if I'm doing really well, I have a good several chunk of days where I'm doing well. Um, and usually the bad days aren't all that frequent. Sometimes they are, but, yeah, when I'm on, I'm on.
That's good.
Yeah.
It takes me usually, when I what my routine is usually I walk to the coffee shop nearby and I sit down. I get a cup of coffee that I don't like. I don't like coffee, but I had to order something because I came to the coffee shop.
Sure.
And then I sit there and I get to work. And usually, I mean, a year ago, I would get right to it and get like 2,000 words written. But lately, it takes me 30 or 40 minutes to even start. I'm
Mm,
just going through what I did yesterday. I'm thinking through what I have to do right now. I'm writing notes on a separate piece of paper. And then I get maybe 300 words or 500 words, and it's been slow. And I
yeah.
think the reason is I've been editing for like 4 years. All this
Yeah,
stuff.
I had that same exact problem when I was going into a new book after the Ruination Game was done. Because I spent like a whole year or so just editing all the books, and and then it was like, all right, now it's time to write. And
Mhm.
what I had written before my editing spree, I was getting good numbers, so I was expecting like, all right, my brain's like in the space, I can do this. And then it was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know? So it does, just the act of writing, it does go away, and then you're writing a lot again. But sometimes it takes a while to get there, and some days are worse than others, and some days are better than others.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope I'm over my lurch soon. I'd like to
Yeah.
be productive again.
At 300
What
words is still 300 words. That's
yeah, it's still
closer than
300 words.
zero.
That's true. That's true. Lately, my sister has been doing a lot of illustrations of like cowboys and stuff.
Okay.
So we've been talking about doing, a Western, like a picture book.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've been outlining things and writing little paragraphs and little mood pieces, trying to find, a good children's book about cowboys. The first like 4 versions were too Western. They were too dark. They were
Oh,
too
I see.
threat of death was too high. So I keep trying to find, ways to tone it down, but also make it feel like a cool Western. So now it's become a kid goes off on his own, um, because there's like there are wolf tracks around his property, and the cows are about to give birth, and he has to protect the calves, and so he has to go out and he has to find this wolf. So that's basically the premise of the story, and ideally it's only going to be 500 words long. So
Okay.
I gotta write it in a way that's fun to read aloud, and also interesting and surprising. And
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good challenge. You
yeah,
said it's going to be a picture book, right?
yes, picture book. My sister is
So
an amazing artist.
that makes descriptions way easier, right?
It
So,
does. I'm making notes like as I'm writing. Like he eventually meets like the wolf of wolves, like the
okay.
king wolf,
Yeah.
and I want this wolf drawn like Smog when
Oh,
Bilbo
yeah.
meets Smog, because
That'd
he's
be
up in the
cool.
mountains, and this wolf he's almost like not there. He like represents all wolves or something like that. And they have this kind of cool conversation. He gets
Yeah.
permission to come under the mountain to hunt the wolf he's looking for,
Oh,
and the
that's
wolf
cool.
gives him permission. So and that might also be too dark and too scary for the children's book. I don't know. We'll know more when we get it kind of like
I
up
mean,
like
if Rowling can pull out Aragog, the spider in Harry Potter, for I would consider that a kid's book still. Then
yeah.
I think you can have a cool wolf like that, right?
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so. Literally, my after I came to pitch this idea, and she was drawing horses. I was like, "You're really good at drawing those. That's amazing." She goes, "Yes." She's like, "I've been trying to draw like coyotes and wolves. I hate drawing coyotes and wolves. I can't." And like, oh boy,
Do I have a project for you?
here we go.
Yeah. My daughter, she's 8, and she just likes spooky things, right? So I feel like
Mm.
she would be all in on that scene for that wolf.
Yeah, it feels very autumn as I'm writing it. It feels very in the fall with changing leaves and spooky season.
Okay.
But also like cozy. It feels cozy also.
Oh,
Like he meets several characters along the way, and they're friendly, interesting characters, and they have the whole story is very positive. He's hunting this wolf, and there's a threat of death, but the whole thing's very positive and I think uplifting, and
nice.
so I hope it's good.
Yeah, good luck with it. It sounds fun.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, we're nearing an hour here. Where can people find you? What's the best place for them to find your book?
Best place to find my book, kind of the only place to find my book, is Amazon. Audible also has books 1 through 4 available right now.
Nice.
Book 5 will be available, but probably not for a while. The plan is to sort of put it on hold for a minute, and get all the books ready before we put them out, because I want to put them out pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, Audible for books 1 through 4, Game of Pawns, Game of Knights, Game of Rooks, Game of Kings. And then Speaking Like Sorcerers will be on Amazon, and the ebook or physical, on Amazon, on October 13th. So look forward
Nice.
to that. Yeah, and you
That's
can find me on
exciting.
X if you want to hang out. So there you go.
X. You have a
X.
website too as well.
I
What is your website?
do. What? Sorry.
What is your website?
My website is it's one of those Wix websites. It was free, and I couldn't pick my own user, whatever it's called. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna say it out here. StephenTBoers.wixsite.com/Stephen hyphen Boers. You probably
Nice.
also need the www dot or whatever, because it's one of those
Probably.
free sites that I didn't pay any money for. But
I'll
yeah,
be sure to add it to the description below.
great. Cool. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. And thanks
Yeah.
everybody for joining us. You made the show delightful. Ro and Mike and
Yeah.
a third person at one point. Um, everyone, thanks for joining us.